Go ahead and open your book to page 43. We're starting lesson 3.3 called Compound Inequalities. Page 43. So yesterday's video we talked a little bit about conjunctions and disjunctions. Now we're going to look at them from this table. So all numbers from 3 to 8 inclusive. All numbers from 3 to 8 inclusive. So everything from 3 to 8, let's give some examples of that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The book has 3.5, 7.9, etc. So if I'm looking at how to write this as an inequality, I need x values greater than or equal to 3. And I also need those same x values to be less than or equal to 8. There's actually another way to write this. Okay, so let's think about my minimum or my lowest number is 3. My maximum or my highest number is 8. And I need all x values in between those two things. So we're going to put x in the middle. And we're going to have our inequality signs saying the same thing. So this says x is greater than 3. So your alligator mouth or your Pac-Man mouth is eating the x. So I need x is greater than or equal to 3. Then it says x is less than or equal to 8. So I need less than or equal to 8. So notice if we were to graph this, I have two different numbers, two inequality symbols. So I'm going to put one circle at 3. It's going to be closed. My other circle is going to be at 8, and it's also closed. And remember, we gave examples of 3.5, 4, 5, 6. So we would shade in the middle numbers greater than 3 and less than 8. So connect them. So this is a conjunction. It's connected. The second one says all numbers less than 5 or greater than 10. This word or is important. Okay. So give me a number less than 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 3.5, negative 10.2, etc. Give me a number greater than 10. 11, 12, 15, 22, and so on. Okay, so look at how we write this one. X is less than 5 or x is greater than 10. That's your inequality. That's the only way to write it. Make sure you have the word or when you're writing these. Okay, so we're going to put an open circle at 5, and we need all numbers less than that. We said 4, 3, 2, so we're shading to the left. Put our open circle at 10. We need all numbers greater than that, so we're shading towards the right, towards 11, 12, etc. The next one says all numbers greater than -1 and less than or equal to 4. So give me a number greater than -1 that's also less than or equal to 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 0.5, etc. Yeah, we could also say 4. Okay, so let's write this as one big compound inequality, one big conjunction because it has the word and. So, oops, I forgot to write up here that this is a disjunction because we're disconnected. We're shading opposite ways. We're shading apart. And we use the word or. Okay, so back to the third column. We are going to put our lowest number first, so -1. My highest number is 4. And I need all numbers in between those, so put your x in the middle. X has to be greater than -1, so you're eating the x. And it has to be less than or equal to 4. So I'm going to draw a simple number line. I have an open circle at -1. I have a closed circle or a filled in circle at 4. Then remember, we need all numbers in between that. So we said 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So we're going to shade in the middle. Shade in between. So again, we have one big problem that's connected. We shaded in the middle to connect these, so this is a conjunction. And the last one, all numbers less than or equal to 3 or greater than 6. So give me a number less than or equal to 3. We have lots of negative numbers we could write down. Give me a number greater than 6. 7, 9. Perfect. So all numbers, x, less than or equal to 3, or, make sure you write the word or, all numbers, so x greater than 6. Let's graph this. Two circles. So closed one at 3, and we need x values less than that. So shade to the left. X values greater than 6, so put an open circle at 6, and shade to the right, greater than, towards 7, 8, and 9. So these are disconnected. This is a disjunction. We're shading opposite ways because we have the word or. So what I would like you to do is I want you to answer question 2. So use this table to compare and contrast the graphs above. Just the graphs. For conjunctions, which is the first and the third graph, and disjunctions, which is the second and the fourth graph. So write down some similarities and differences and pause the video to take time to do that. Both graphs show a range of numbers or a range of answers. Both graphs have two circles. Yes, both graphs have shading. Kind of goes along with the first one. Differences. Conjunction. We shade to connect, or we shade in the middle of the two circles, 2 points. Disjunction is disconnected, or we're shading apart or opposite ways. Yes, some circles are open and some circles are closed. Good. Alrighty, turn your page to 44. We're going to look at Spartan Middle School, and they have a table here for boys and girls that are 12 and 13 years old. They're doing the mile, push-ups, and modified pull-ups. Okay, so This says to write and graph a compound inequality that describes the push-up range for 12-year-old boys. So push-ups, boys that are 12, it's right here in your table, 10 to 20. That's a range of numbers. From 10 to 20, and everything in between is an answer or a possibility. So it says to use P for push-ups, so that's the variable we are going to use. And our push-ups can be greater than or equal to 10, and they also have to be less than or equal to 20. So because this is a range of values and we're using the word and, I know that I'm going to shade in the middle to connect. So this is a conjunction. Connect, conjunction. So my lowest number of push-ups here is 10. My highest or my maximum amount of push-ups is 20. And I can be anything in between those two. So notice we're going to put P in the middle. And then pay attention to your signs. P is greater than or equal to 10. P is less than or equal to 20. I've had students that look at this in the past and say, Miss Granger, I noticed that both inequality symbols point or open or face the same direction, which is true, so you can keep that in mind. I've had other students who say, if this is a conjunction, your signs kind of open the same way a C would open. So you need to think about it however it works best for you. If we were to graph this, we would put a closed circle at 10 and a closed circle at 20. And we've actually talked about push-ups and pull-ups before and why we cannot shade. Okay, remember, I'm not going to shade in the middle because I can't do 10.2 or 12.5 or 15.8 push-ups. So make sure we're going to actually put dots or points this time at our integers, at our whole numbers, because that's how we count push-ups and pull-ups. Okay, so let's take a look at all of these examples here. You can look at the table on the top of your page. Find the push-up range for 13-year-old boys. Push-up range for 13-year-old boys. It's from 12 to 25 inclusive. So I know this is going to be a conjunction. So my lowest number, my minimum is 12. My maximum is 25. My push-ups need to be in between that. And they have to be greater than or equal to 12, less than or equal to 25. So I'm just going to do a rough number line. Closed circle at 12, closed circle at 25, and then we can only count them in whole numbers, so I can do 24, 23, etc. all the way down to 12. The pull-up range for 13-year-old girls. Find it in the table. Pull-ups for 13-year-old girls. It's from 4 to 13. That's a range of values, and everything in the middle or in between. So again, this is a conjunction. So my minimum, my lowest amount that we can get is 4. Our highest is 13. My pull-ups need to be in between those two numbers, so put the P in the middle. P has to be greater than or equal to 4, so notice our mouth is eating the P. But P has to be less than or equal to 13, so the mouth is eating the 13 because that's the bigger thing. Okay. So on our graph, start at 4. closed circle at 4, closed circle at 13, and this is a conjunction, so we're going to shade in the middle to connect these. But pull-ups are counted in whole numbers, so make sure you're putting circles. Points at all your whole numbers. 5, 6, 7, and so on. Question C, the mile time for 12-year-old girls. Find it up in your table. 12-year-old girls' mile time is from 9 minutes to 12 minutes and everything in between. So I know, again, I have a conjunction because I'm using a range of values from a low of 9 to a high number of 12. And my run, or my mile, so I'm going to use an M, we could also use an R, is going to be in between those two. So my mile time has to be greater than or equal to 9, less than or equal to 12. Hopefully you are recognizing a pattern throughout all of these answers. All right. We are going to put a closed circle at 9, a closed circle at 12, and think about maybe in gym class or when you have a timer, every time is a possibility. I don't just need to round to 10, 11, and 12. We don't have to have whole numbers. We could run it in 9 minutes and 12 seconds, or 10 minutes and 42 seconds, or 11 minutes and 12 seconds. So we can actually shade this time in the middle to connect everything from 9 to 12. All right, the mile run for 13-year-old boys. Look at the table. It looks like it's from 7 minutes and 30 seconds all the way up to 10 and everything in between. So again, we have a conjunction here. So you can write 7:30 like that. You could write 7.5 like 7.5. 10. I'm going to use an M again for mile. My mile has to be greater than or equal to 7 minutes 30 seconds and less than or equal to 10. So on our number line, we're going to have a closed circle at 7.5, 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so halfway between 7 and 8. Another closed circle at 10. And remember, we don't have to count time in minutes or in whole numbers. So we can actually shade for this one again, and we're going to shade everything in the middle. Question E, a score outside the healthy fitness zone for girls push-ups. So what is healthy for girls push-ups? Let's go back up and look. Anything between 7 and 15. Anything between 7 and 15. So we need a score outside of that. Outside, we're going to shade opposite ways. So this is actually going to be a disjunction, and we're going to use the word or. So what's a score outside? If we can do 7 to 15, what's less than 7? Good. Our push-ups can be any less than or equal to 6. Anything less or equal to 6, because 7 counts. Or our push-ups can be anything that's greater than or equal to 16, because 15 counts. So if we were to graph this one, 7 doesn't work, so don't put anything at 7 or 8. We need to start, 6 is outside, so that works. 5 is outside, 4, and so on. And then 16 is outside the healthy fitness zone, 17, 18, and so on. So this is a disjunction. We are going in opposite directions. We're shading out. apart. This is disconnected. Okay, so if this was just a math problem without a story about push-ups and pull-ups, then we would just shade normally. But because some of these have points, it's due to the story problem of push-ups and pull-ups are only counted as whole numbers, right? We can't count part or half of a push-up or pull-up.